archives. So you'll get a little message asking if it's okay to record. And again, this is a very unique workshop. We've been doing mostly panels throughout the New Orleans Poetry Festival. And, every other year we've been in person. So if we decide that this is not a recording we want to be public, we can just decide that together. And I'll talk to the organizers. So feel free to speak openly and we'll work from there. Okay, everybody's out of the waiting room. It's now 3:07. So we'll just get on with the workshop. So let's see here. My name is Jessica Kinnison. I am on the New Orleans Poetry Festival board, and I'm so happy to be here. I'm just here for backup and helping out with technology to the point that I can. So I'm really happy to be along for the ride here. I think it's gonna be a really cool workshop. So welcome to the 2021 New Orleans Poetry Festival. Before we get started, we want to thank our major sponsors this year, especially the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival. If y'all are into music, they're doing the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival on www.oz.org and on the radio for free this weekend. So if y'all want to listen, you can. It's always great. And the Academy of American Poets, who have helped us this year keep this year's fest free and open to all. Glad to see all of you with us at this event. I know some folks signed up in advance, some folks are just here. Glad to have you all. I know that our presenters are very excited, and hope to see you at many other events throughout the month. We only have about a week left. April went by fast. All you have to do to attend is go to nolapoetry.com and click on the event that you want to attend, either on Facebook or here on Zoom. So now I'm going to turn it over to our speakers, and I hope y'all have a wonderful workshop.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks, Jessica. I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
And we're leading this workshop.
Yeah. This very experimental session.
Very experimental, joy-filled, collaborative, playful time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, initially, because we had imagined this happening in person.
Mm-hmm.
And so we had to think for a while how we might translate this to an online format.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very much our first time trying to do something like this
Mm-hmm.
and together. But we're so excited and so grateful that you're all here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so do you want to start with intros?
Yeah.
So I can put this into the chat. But we'd love to hear from each of you.
Mm-hmm.
So your name, your pronouns, if you feel comfortable sharing, where you're zooming in from, and then finally, a fun fact.
I thought of this just now. If you were a pasta shape, what pasta shape would you be? And we should go first.
Yeah.
I'll go first.
You go first.
Okay. My name is Sam Herschel Wine. I use he and they pronouns interchangeably. We're both zooming in from Boston, where I drove from Chicago, which was very far. And I think I would be the pasta shape that has like a lot of squiggles.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
beautiful.
That's how I feel today.
Many squiggles.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm Chen. He, him. Same location, obviously. If I were a pasta shape, I think I would be a wheel. That's what I'm feeling, even though I don't drive, and I'm a gay that doesn't drive.
Yeah.
But I've been fantasizing about driving,
Yeah.
like just to the grocery store, like not on the highway, but just little local drives, scenic drives.
Scenic.
So I would be a wheel, pasta shape.
Yeah, if people want to just like jump in, if you jump in at the same time, that's normal on Zoom. So just try to be mindful. Yeah.
Do you want us to say it out loud?
Yeah. Like
everyone. Cool. I'm not shy. So I will say that I'm Amanda. I'll read what I wrote. And she, they, I'm from New Orleans. That's where I'm zooming in. I'm definitely a curly cutie. So I definitely go with Fusellini.
A curly cutie.
I love that. Beautiful shape. Thanks, Amanda.
Hi, I'm Taylor, and I'm coming in from Winnipeg, Manitoba in Canada, where I just moved, and my pronouns are she and her, and I think I'd be a bow tie.
Bow tie, classic.
So good.
Yeah, thanks so much, Taylor.
My name is Melissa. I am zooming from the south side of Chicago. I use she, they pronoun, and if I were a pasta shape, I'd be like the little words.
Alphabet pasta.
Oh my God, little words.
Yeah.
Thank you, Melissa.
I am Eliana. I'm zooming in from Vancouver, but I'm from outside of Boston, like 5 minutes outside Brandeis.
God, amazing.
That's where we
Yeah.
are.
We're just talking about them guys so much. All the connections.
And I use they them, and if I were pasta, I was gonna say bow tie, but I think I'll go with rigatoni because I like them.
Also classic.
Yeah. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Welcome,
Eliana.
Eliana.
Hi, I'm Katie. I'm in Atlanta. My pronouns are she and they, and I would be whatever shape gluten-free pasta comes in. It just has to be gluten-free. I don't care what shape it is.
Awesome. Thank you,
I can go
Katie.
now. Hi, everyone. My name is Nick. I'm zooming in from Philadelphia. I go by kind of he and they pronouns. And for my pasta, bit of a deep cut, but there's a brand new shape called cascatelli that is apparently like designed to hold as much sauce as possible. And I want that energy in my life.
As much sauce as possible.
Oh my God.
Wait, I'm writing that down right now.
Science. Oh, you have to, it's like, it's a fascinating story about how it was created.
That is what I need in my life.
Wow, the ambition of that shape. Thank you, Nick.
Who else wants to go?
I'll go. So my name is Winston. I currently use he, him, his pronouns, and I'm calling in from the greater Seattle area in Bellevue, Washington. And I think the pasta shape that I would be are Chinese knife cut noodles.
Wonderful.
Yes.
Hi.
I'm getting hungry.
I can go. I'm Aminta. I use they, them pronouns. I am zooming in from New Orleans, and I think I'd be a ravioli.
Ravioli.
What a great choice.
Yeah.
We need to eat after this.
We need to eat a lot of pasta after this, in fact. Thank you, Aminta.
I'll go if
Okay,
I don't want to step on someone's.
I wanted to be ravioli too. I'm Lauren. I'm sorry, I'm off screen. I wanted to be ravioli, so Aminta, you and I have to get together and talk about why at some point. Zooming in from Santa Fe, and I use she, her.
Hi, Lauren.
Hello.
I'm Caleb and I use he, him, although I'm kind of moving into he, they, but this is my work account. So I'm just like leaving it. So I don't forget because I'm not ready to do that at work. I'm zooming in from San Luis Obispo, California, which is on the central coast of California between like LA and San Francisco. And if I was a pasta, I would be like Annie's shells, you know, a little shell. A tiny shell.
A little shell.
A little shell.
You brought me a little shell.
I
Not a
did.
pasta shell. A real shell.
A real shell.
From the sea.
From the ocean.
Yeah.
Yeah, I brought one.
There are shells of various kinds. Yeah, thank you, Caleb.
Hello, I'm Z. I use she, her pronouns. I'm zooming in from the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, California. And if I were pasta, I would be shell pasta.
Shell, yeah.
Such a good shape.
Thank you, Z.
I'm gonna go ahead and be the third person in the row to say shell.
Yeah.
My name is Alan. I use he, him pronouns. I'm coming to you from northwestern Pennsylvania, and yeah, I'd be a shell.
Yeah, shell's it's a strong choice.
I agree. I love to have 3 of them in a row. That makes it feel
Shell,
more
shell,
special.
shell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Triple shell.
Triple shell. Yeah, thank you, Ellen.
Great. Did everyone go that wants to go? I think Linda put theirs in the chat.
Okay.
Yes, welcome Linda as well.
From Deep East Texas. And linguine.
Ugh,
yeah.
Amazing.
Thank you, Linda.
Yeah.
For bringing the linguine into the space.
Necessary.
Wow. We had just decided on what the fun fact of the intro would be. And you're like, what about this? And I'm like, perfect. Pasta shape.
Yeah. That's just how my brain works. So welcome everyone. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing this Zoom space with us. Yeah, I think Chen and I have become friends and collaborators, and we've played a lot in our poetry together that we've made together. And I think that's been really special for us, and also have like had a lot of conversations that have led to poems, which really got us like inspired to think about different ways to sort of like generate work in community and also just like be silly and see what comes from that. So we've got two different like segments of this.
Yeah, two parts.
Two parts. One part Chen is going to lead to start, which is kind of like more of a prompt and an activity. And then we're going to do my section where we take the poems that we brought and we're going to do wacky, wavy, inflatable arm-filling tube things with them.
Yeah. I'm realizing we could also do that with whatever you draft in my part. So you could do it with that, or you could do it with a different poem. Yeah, of yours.
The options are endless.
Endless.
It's really your adventure that we're all on together.
Yeah.
So
I'm excited.
Yeah, me too.
Okay.
So take us away. Let's put our link in, you know?
Oh, our Google Doc. Yeah, so everyone can pull this up. How do we, okay, copy link.
Yeah. So we made a Google Doc. If you want to like follow along on the computer, though, we'll also screen share it, so you'll be able to see it too. But we kind of made a little agenda. Ugh, love to be organized, you know? In this economy, we did it.
Yeah, so we're doing this generative exercise first, which I'm thinking of as kind of a warm-up for the more interactive exercise that we'll do. So this exercise involves writing toward emotional, sonic, and imagistic surprise, and thinking about emotion as a continuum rather than a set of positive, negative binaries. So in particular, sadness and happiness being two sides of the same coin, or two faces out of our many possible faces. So I first wanted to share with you all this magical prose poem by Mary Ruefle from my private property. Just been thinking about the series of poems that she has in that book that all start with a color plus sadness. So I'll read this one. Purple sadness is the sadness of classical music in eggplant, the stroke of midnight, human organs, ports cut off for part of every year, words with too many meanings, incense, insomnia, and the crescent moon. It is the sadness of play money and icebergs seen from a canoe. It is possible to dance to purple sadness, though slowly as it takes to dig a pit to hold a sleeping giant. Purple sadness is pervasive and goes deeper into the interior than the world's greatest nickel deposits, or any other sadness on earth. It is the sadness of depositories and heels echoing down a long corridor. It is the sound of your mother closing the door at night, leaving you alone. So Ruefle has this note into the book, and it was such a delight to discover this. So she writes, in each of the color pieces, if you substitute the word happiness for sadness, nothing changes. I don't know if I agree that nothing changes. I think the poem works as a poem, but I think it is transformative. So
nothing changes is really
a
disservice to the ingenue.
Anyway, I'll write a letter to Ruefle one day about this matter. She doesn't own a computer, so I have to send her a letter. Actually mail a letter.
Yeah.
So let's now reread the above poem, replacing sadness with happiness. Purple happiness is the happiness of classical music and eggplant, the stroke of midnight, human organs, ports cut off for part of every year, words with too many meanings, incense, insomnia, and the crescent moon. It is the happiness of play money and icebergs seen from a canoe. It is possible to dance to purple happiness, though slowly as it takes to dig a pit to hold a sleeping giant. Purple happiness is pervasive and goes deeper into the interior than the world's greatest nickel deposits or any other happiness on earth. It is the happiness of depositories in heels echoing down a long corridor. It is the sound of your mother closing the door at night, leaving you alone. Purple happiness.
Purple happiness. So different from purple
Yeah.
sadness, Mary. What were you thinking?
Just different. A totally different poem.
Like completely.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, I want to just pause for a moment before we move to the next part of this. I'm super curious, just what it was like to encounter these poems or hear them or look at them one after the other, and just replacing that one word, you know, what that did for you, or if you have other impressions you want to share of these poems.
I have a
poem.
logistics question. Like,
Yeah.
are we able to download this doc to keep?
Yeah, you can keep it.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we wanted to put it all in a doc so that you could return to it. It could be a resource for you. Yeah,
I'm
two totally
getting
different
a
poems.
request access page.
Oh,
I'm just gonna click the button.
My settings.
Yeah, I can do that.
Okay.
Yeah. Can I do that?
It should just be, oh yeah. So we are changing it.
Okay, should work now. Sorry about that.
Yeah, are folks able to access it?
Great.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, any other impressions?
Yeah.
Those two poems.
Purple sadness / happiness.
I kind of, in a way that I don't know if I can even really like describe, I kind of get what she meant when she said it doesn't really change, because there's something about like the purple happiness being to like the left of happiness, and then purple sadness being to like the right of sadness, you know, to a place where it almost like a Venn diagram, it's like right in the middle.
Yeah. That's a
So it
beautiful
kind
way
of
to
like
put it.
does feel like the same thing almost, which is kind of crazy actually.
Yeah. It's just funny reading it out loud, one after the other. Like I feel like my tone sort of changes.
For sure.
Yeah, when I read like the sadness of it versus the happiness, I feel like it's I get a little bubblier when I read it. But at the same time, I love that way of thinking about it. That it's on this Venn diagram, and they have like this overlap. Yeah, because all the images are the same, which is really striking to me. That like, oh yeah, the crescent moon can be sad or happy.
Totally. But I also feel like making it purple is like, if you make sadness purple, it's kind of like nice and happy. And then if you make a happiness, which I feel like is normally like yellow or something, if you bring it down to like purple, it's kind of like a bit of a sadder version of happy.
That's a great point. I love that. Yeah, it's like a kind of wistful happiness and a kind of whimsical sadness.
For sure.
Yeah, that's
cool.
great.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like either way, it's like deeply melancholic. Like melancholy was kind of like the predominant way I felt, especially in the first version, but also in the second. And I think it does change the images. Like for instance, the canoe and the iceberg, like when it's the sad version, I'm like thinking about climate change. And when it's the happy version, I'm thinking about like finding wonder, like, and seeing this like ecological phenomenon. And the mother at the end is so interesting because in the first version, like this sadness of like childhood coming to an end or something. But then in the happy version, it's like if you did not have a good relationship with your mother, or there's something you're like trying to escape. So I think that it's really fascinating the way it does overlap quite a bit with this sort of bittersweet melancholia. But for me, I felt completely different when you read the two poems.
Yeah, I mean, that ending is so interesting, like being left alone, right? The mother closing the door. Like I think of it, I love the way that you interpreted that too, with like childhood and relationships. And yeah, that just adds to it. The way that I was initially interpreting it was like loneliness versus solitude, right? So, you know, feeling lonely without the mother being there is like the sadness, the purple sadness. But then the happiness is wanting to be left alone, right? To, you know, read a book or, you know, watch a movie on your own. So having that like privacy is the happiness of purple in the second version.
I also just have another thing to add where it just reminds me of when my parents used to tuck me and close the door, and they used to joke and say, okay, bye. And I'd be like, it's not bye, it's just good night. Like, you know, they're just closing the door for the night, but you're gonna see them again in the morning.
Wow, what a dramatic thing to say.
I know, because they knew it riled me up. That's why. It's like, don't say that.
Wow.
This is not goodbye, it's just see you later, you know?
Yeah, I'm obsessed with how both poems can bring up such personal associations, right? Because it brings up the fact too that we have very, you know, idiosyncratic, specific associations with, you know, what makes us happy versus sad, right? Images of things or objects. So yeah, I love seeing both versions of this.
And I did feel this, go ahead. Yeah, I did feel like there were certain lines that stuck with me more in the sad version and stuck with me more in the happy version too. Whereas there wasn't like a time where I was like, oh, this line doesn't work, but there were times where I was like, oh, this is crushing me. Like, this is exactly it. And that was nice.
Yeah. Yeah, another moment that I like thinking about for both versions is the words with too many meanings. Like how that can make you sad because it's like frustrating or confusing, but can also make you happy. I think, especially as a poet, it can make you happy.
Yeah.
Words with too many meanings, and like the ambiguity of those meanings. Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so we'll move to this next part. So screen share again, where I want us to look at this painting by Max Ernst. So I put a link there, but I'll also actually pull it up on the screen for a moment. This painting,
The moon.
I came across on Tumblr.
Wow, the gay agenda.
Yeah, I
on
still
Tumblr.
have like an inspiration Tumblr that I update like every 4 months. That's how often I'm inspired, apparently. But yeah, I was just so drawn to this painting, just part for the painting itself, but also because of its title, which is Happy Moon, which got me thinking about this, you know, emotional continuum thing again. And yeah, what if it were titled Sad Moon? You know, how would that sort of change your relationship to looking at the painting? So this prompt that follows is thinking both about the Mary Ruefle poem and this painting.
Happy Moon is such a gorgeous title.
Happy Moon.
Happy Moon.
So yeah, this is a large, very round full moon whose white beams radiate outward into a blue, blue night. The moonlight confers a shimmer to everything around it. Just thinking about this quote from Octavia Butler, all that you touch, you change. As though light were the moon's expression of happiness. I love this title, Happy Moon. I love the moon, and I love that in this case, it is happy.
You do love the moon.
Deeply. So our first prompt, which I first would like us, maybe, since we're not able to do breakout rooms, maybe we'll do a little journaling around these responses first, and then share a little bit. So yeah, if you have something to write with, something to write on, we'll just like free write based on these questions first. So what is a celestial body or astronomical object, if you want to get more sciencey about it, that makes you happy to look at or think about? This could be the moon, a different moon, a star, a comet, a planet, a constellation, etc. Why does that celestial body bring you delight? How might that celestial body experience delight itself? How might it express that happiness? Right? Does it radiate this joy? So when we're going to do this in breakout rooms, you would talk through these responses, but I think we'll journal, and then if you want to share a bit of what came up from your free writing. But basically, this is an opportunity for us to reflect on how conversation, right, can be a part of our generative pre-writing process. As we mentioned, I mean, so many poems are just lines that we come up with happen through FaceTime calls, text messages. So yeah, conversation, sort of brainstorming out loud, no critique or judgment, just listening and attending to one another's imaginations, right? So many poems grow out of this wacky conversing, right, in which you just riff, you share this enthusiasm, and it grows from there. So we'll start with these questions.
Oh my God, the anonymous chinchilla.
Yeah.
I love all your little names.
On the Google Doc.
I know, yeah.
Yeah, so let's say about 4 minutes.
4, okay, great. I'm doing this too.
Yeah, that's all good. Just put this in the chat too.
Oh yeah, good idea.
So just put the questions in the chat. Yeah, feel free during the writing time to do whatever you need to be in a comfortable writing place. So if you want to turn your camera off, move around, totally up to you.
Put a plant on your head. You know,
Yeah.
This is your time to shine.
This is your time. We'll go one more minute. Okay, we're back.
And we're back with more programming.
And now, our regularly scheduled experiment. Yeah, so would anyone like to share a bit of their responses to these questions? What came up for you? I'm super curious about the celestial body or astronomical object.
I have something I'm going to share.
Sure.
So with the color sadness poems, we were talking about like solitude and loneliness, and it got me thinking about like really distant celestial objects. And I wrote a short thing about this, but scientists actually theorize that there could be a really large planet, like 20 times as far away from our solar system as any other planet. It takes millennia, like tens of thousands of years to circle. And we don't know where it is. We don't know what it looks like, but we think we can sense it in like some of the ways that the outer meteor, the Kuiper belt, like clusters and does weird things. So it's kind of beautiful. So it's beyond like one sense of connection of like viewing and seeing, but because of just like the universal nature of gravity, there is like this beautiful interconnection and kind of reaching back out, which I was just thinking about.
It's like the gayest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah.
It's so gay. It feels very trans in the sense of like reaching for this kind of like intangible but present thing. Something I think about. Yeah, it's very the kind of cruising utopia thing of like the constant becoming, the constant looking. I don't know.
Great. Wow,
A
Nick.
ginormous planet.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Wow. Yes. I didn't know about that.
Me neither. I see, Amanda, you're raising your hand.
Hi, can you all hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Can I read the poem that I wrote from this?
Sure.
Yeah, go for it.
Okay. So it's about the moon. I love the moon. Bright moon, mother moon, waking moon, quaking moon. Moon mother, move me. Daughter of the moon, siblings of night magic, free spirits, children of the mystic, chosen, kin. She smiles down at me. Dance, daughter, dance in the light of my rays, dance in the light. She smiles, she beckons me. Dance sky-clad in the sacred garden. Call your kindred to commune in the light of my love. Make love in the moonlight, sky-clad in sacred garden, with her our chosen. And she whispers, daughter,
when you kiss the sky, embrace me. That will be my thanks.
Amanda! Oh my god, a whole poem. Whole gorgeous poem.
Wow.
I love what you're doing with the moonlight in there. And just the play with light. I mean, I love moonlight.
You do.
But the address at the end as well is so heartful.
Heartful.
So tenderhearted. Yeah. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you for sharing that, Amanda.
Yeah.
And I see Melissa's hand is up.
Hi, everyone. So I love this exercise. I love how gay and celestial it is.
You have to go celestial.
Huh?
You have to go celestial. You know?
Absolutely. So for me, the celestial body that I chose is Io, which is one of Jupiter's 79 moons.
79 moons. You know, we just have one measly moon.
I know.
And we're obsessed with it.
I know.
Because that's all we have.
Yeah.
You know, it's moon scarcity. And Jupiter has moon abundance. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's like a really cool moon. It's like one of the 3 largest moons that Jupiter has, and it's always facing on one side. And I think if I remember from my astronomy class, it kind of like, as it's orbiting Jupiter with the other 2, because Jupiter has 3 big moons, I think it kind of like kind of squishes itself. So I think that's pretty cool. And Io makes me happy because it reminds me of community that it is with other large moons. Since Io is only slightly bigger than Earth's moon, I find that it's like fearless. That it kind of it just kind of fights Jupiter every day. It has a lot of volcanoes. It has lava that goes up to like thousands of kilometers up, and you can even see it through telescopes from Earth. So just it reminds me of revolution. So that's why I picked Io.
Oh my god.
Revolution.
I know.
Ah, beautiful.
I mean, can you just imagine having 79 moons circling you all the time?
I really cannot.
It's like, I feel like I would forget about some of the moons.
Oh my gosh.
You wouldn't.
I wouldn't.
You would keep in touch with every moon.
Everyone.
You'd send them handwritten letters.
Every time.
Extrovert. So yeah, thank you all so much for sharing.
Yeah.
So I want to just make sure we have enough time for everything. Oh yeah, astronomy class. Yeah.
Yeah.
Very vague things I know about.
You know some things.
Yeah, astronomical objects. Okay.
We don't need a whole hour for mine, so you can definitely.
I just wanted to mention, I read about the asteroid belt.
Oh.
I was thinking about belted outfits and like the solar system wearing the asteroid belt and whether it got tired of always wearing a belted outfit.
Yeah.
Or not. Whether that made it sad or happy. What did you write about?
I wrote about this constellation that I used my constellation app to try to name for a long time, and I couldn't, and so I made up a name for it myself.
What did you make up?
It was Wesley, the Serpent of the North.
That is very specific. Not expecting that.
That's what I wrote about.
Love that for you. Wait, say it again.
Wesley, the Serpent of the North.
There you go.
Yes, shaped like a W. Okay.
Heard it here first.
Here first, everyone.
Okay. Back to the Google Doc.
Yeah. Anyway, sorry about that.
No, that's
everyone.
beautiful. Okay. So some of you already started to do this, which is amazing. So that was like sort of pre-writing, but some of you were just like writing. So you can continue with that if you'd like to. But the way that I was envisioning this was to start your writing like a draft of a poem with a title like this, Happy, and then fill in the celestial body that you picked, right? So Happy Asteroid Belt, Happy Eon, Happy Moon could be that. So you have 15 minutes to write a draft. Try not to edit too much along the way, right? Don't worry about creating a quote unquote good poem. Yeah, air quotes. Let the writing, yeah, exactly. Let the writing be rough and messy and intuitive and leaping and knotted and naughty and wildly yours, right? No expectation to share these drafts if anyone is being up to it. we'll reconvene, and you're welcome to share a moment from your writing if you'd like to. But it can also just be for you. Right? So happy celestial body of some kind. All right, so I'll put this in the chat as well. And
yeah, someone wrote about Orion's belt.
oh my God, the belts of the
belts of the
universe.
Amazing.
Beautiful. Yeah. So again, you feel free to go off camera.
Let's
get
do
comfy.
like 12 minutes.
We'll do 12 minutes.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll check in about halfway through, let you know how much time you have left.
Mhm.
You have about 6 more minutes.
Keep
Hooray.
going.
Keep going.
You're
Or-
crushing it.
Or change completely.
Oh my God. Or just start over.
Yeah. Do whatever you want.
Yeah. Or get a beverage, you know?
Oh, thank you, Lauren, for coming.
Yeah. You're so great. It's
You're
so good
amazing.
to have you.
You have 1 more minute.
Yeah, 1 minute to finish your dreams.
Woo.
And then-
Hello.
It's us.
It is once again
Once again,
the two of us.
our time to shine.
Ugh, I hope you all had a lovely time.
Yeah. Doing
Writing.
whatever you were doing,
Yeah.
you know? Whether it be writing or doodling
Yeah.
or noodling even.
Any of the above.
Yeah.
So yeah, would anyone like to share a stanza, a moment, from what they composed?
I would like to.
Yeah, go ahead.
for it.
Back or I don't know. Yeah, mine went a little bit dark because I've been meaning to write this one. It had kind of strayed from the prompt, I think. Okay.
I love straying.
Prompts are
from
supposed
the
to do.
prompt.
Yeah.
Okay. You called me your third concubine when I asked if you'd consider me as a lover. I sleep under the sun, and you let me rot like the cabbage from the dinner I made 3 hours yesterday. Must I bind my feet to satisfy you? Does your happiness derive from my constant observing and wondering when your first concubine will die? This is 2021. I don't know much about concubines, but I've probably conducted more research to make sense of the nickname you gave me. The podium in which I stand for third place is plain. I wish to paint some lotuses on it. Yeah, I'll leave it at that.
So good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Winston.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, that poem, made me think of it because you haven't seen Farewell My Concubine, which is a very important movie. So yeah, wow, that was great. Thank you so much. Melissa?
Okay, so I want to talk about EO. It's a love poem. Happy EO. Lava, strategy, love, community defense. Here's a hand. Would you like to dance? You can look at burning prisons through a telescope with me. Rouged lips, cherry jubilee, ripped lovesick seams, orgasms and tears, jeweled box of continuums, seltzer, always looking for your face. Night blossoms, fragrant jasmine and autonomy. If I gave you a topaz, would you love me forever? How long will you stay to see this place burn with me? How do I love thee? Through gravitational pull, through war, by always showing you, even in, what did I write? Even in conflict, the same graceful face.
Fabulous.
Oh, wonderful. What was the
Yeah.
line that I repeated?
Cherries Jubilee.
Cherries Jubilee, yes.
Mhm.
I like said it out loud.
I also love the appearance of seltzer in poems. I feel like it doesn't happen often enough.
No.
Yeah, but that was gorgeous. Thank you for sharing that, Melissa.
Yeah.
I think
I
I
have a
saw
silly
another
one.
hand
Oh.
a little earlier.
No, it was someone clapping.
Oh, someone clapping. Okay.
Does anyone
Hands
else
can do
want to
other
go?
I have a silly one.
Yeah, please.
Okay. It's called Happy Milky Way. Hey, the world's on fire and I gave up dairy. But cheese is still the best food, I'll give you that. I'm tiny and I'm looking up at you, and I'd love just a little lick. I became vegan for environmental reasons, as you know, but this world has gone to shit, as you know, and you're a big smear of ice cream smiling from the sky. Would that make you happy, Milky Way? If you could rain down on this world of burning, turning us into one big bowl of Lucky Charms.
Oh my God.
My God.
That's appreciation, enthusiasm.
My goodness.
Dairy.
Dairy.
I miss dairy so much.
Yes, me too.
You've been trying to avoid dairy.
I can't do it.
It's hard. It's not possible to do entirely.
No, it's just no one will live happily that way. I mean, some people
Exactly.
don't marry, but
I love in that poem just the little moments of like more conversational. I mean, the like, shit. That's great. Thank you, Taylor.
Thank you.
We probably have time for like one or two more.
Yeah, Alan.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Taylor, that brought me a lot of joy. So thank you for sharing that. Speaking of joy, I have a hard time writing about joy or imagining any objects and experiencing joy. So I mostly wrote about, I don't know, I'll just read it. It's called Happy Constellation. It's just fun to think the stars care about you, to imagine a connection of literally astronomical proportions reaching down to embrace your small frame, to grasp at this immense sense of mattering. There's joy in this. There's nothing to lose. We catch ourselves in the threads between the stars. We wrap ourselves in them and we shine like they do.
Yeah.
Oh.
Astrology.
Everyone's are so good.
The
This
gay
is
science.
Nuts.
So good. Yeah. Yeah, it is funny to think about. Yeah, the stars, the constellations caring about us.
Yeah. Being like, I'm gonna
them.
Yeah.
This person.
Yeah. What's their deal?
Their personality.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, to everyone who shared.
Yeah.
So I think we're originally going to do this in the session, but it's a lot of writing. So I'm just going to give you this takeaway prompt. That's sort of like the next step in this experiment, which is to try to write another version of this piece where the title is sad blank instead. So there are different ways you could do this. You could revise your happy poem to make it sad, or think of a celestial body or event, right? Say a supernova or the Big Bang, that makes you feel sad to look at or think about. If you could see the Big Bang. I don't know why that make you sad, but that was just the example that I came up with. I was trying to think of like events that have happened in the universe, and I was like, the very first one. I don't know how that would work. Sad Big Bang. Maybe like there's something in there. Anyway, you can also just continue working on, your happy poem. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting to try to do this other version of it. What would you change in your happy poem, if anything, right, to make it sad? Or would you just change the title of it, right? Or change some of the descriptors, right? So like the way that Rueful replaced just that word, right? Sadness with happiness. So that's your takeaway prompt, if you want to continue in this direction. Or you can just continue, working on what you're working on, playing with it, and seeing where that takes you.
Yeah. Being the blossoming, beautiful
blossom.
I was like trying to think of more B words.
There's no noun
to make that alliteration happen. Just the poems were so good. That's what I'm trying to say.
Amazing.
Yeah, incredible.
All right, are we ready for part 2?
Are we ready for part 2? I think we should.
Let's take a little break.
Should we take like a 3-minute break?
Let's take a 3-minute break.
Okay, cool.
All right. So
get like a
Get a snack. Maybe a banana.
Yeah. Oh, we have bananas.
We do have bananas.
Ugh, we have banana
Yeah.
bread. too.
Stretch.
Yeah.
Use the restroom.
Totally. Jump up and down.
Text friends.
Yeah. Loved ones,
Loved
maybe.
ones.
That person.
Text your enemies.
Ugh,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah. Okay, we're
3
gonna
minutes.
mute ourselves now.
And once again,
It's us.
we're just talking about how this feels like our variety show.
Yeah.
Sam and Chen,
Cornucopia.
cornucopia of
Miscellaneous.
of miscellaneous blossoming. There we go.
Oh gosh. I wish I was like dancing.
Mhm.
Like
Well, we're gonna do some moving.
Yeah, we
in a
will.
moment. Yeah.
Text your friends / enemies. Wow.
Yeah, Linda, thank you.
You're right.
Yeah, that could be another set of prompts.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Text your friends or enemies.
Hmm. Yeah. Let's like let some people filter back in from their breaks. Get so many emails.
I know. I need to unsubscribe to everything.
Yeah. How do you live this way?
It's unbearable.
It's unbearable.
My inbox is a dumpster fire.
I have 0 unread emails in my inbox right now.
That's gross of you, honestly.
I just thought I would tell you that.
That's too clean.
I'm really good at email maintenance somehow. I don't respond to all of them, but I open them.
And then you delete.
I do delete a lot of my emails.
I need to delete more.
Mhm.
All right, welcome back.
Hello. It's us from sunny, windy Boston.
Yeah, it's very windy today.
It's so windy. I'm blown over. My hair is like not recovered.
Mhm.
Oh, Katie, that's a great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, the first part of it is a great idea. The second part of it is really
It's such a bad habit. It basically means I just never reply to any emails ever. Like I have a serious problem. So I think I shouldn't do it. And then it might like remain there. Like I think basically maybe the solution is to never open an email to read it unless you know you can reply right then.
Mm-hmm. That's what I used to do. Oh my God, cat. I see a cat. Hello, sweet friend. I just went in our break and played with Ben's dog for 5 minutes. It was really nice.
Bishop.
Oh,
God,
Bishop.
hello.
Hi.
Are you also a poet?
Yes.
Cat.
The cat. Wow.
Oh my gosh. Well, we're gonna do something like totally wacky
Totally different.
and like out of here, you know?
What are you trying to say?
I don't know. I really thought that we would do this in smaller groups, and we're doing it in a big group, and that's just gonna be how it's gonna be. So
Do you want to share screen?
yeah, is everyone back enough? I don't know. Some people's cameras are off.
I
That's
think
cool.
we can just start.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for it. Okay. This is like my wacky wavy inflatable arm flailing exercise. A playful exercise. Now we are going to take our poems and like really get wild together. This is an exercise to help us remember that when we write poems, we are also being daring, magical human brain creatures who we are. And as Emily Jungmann Yoon once said, escaping from the language that governs us. What does this escape look like physically? Should our poems just be read, or should they be shouted under viaducts?
Viaducts.
Yeah, viaducts.
I didn't see this part.
Leading everyone's fanciest parades, or even whispered between ears under the table with the tablecloth hanging to the floor.
That's naughty.
It doesn't have to be. It could be dear,
That's
you know?
naughty.
Oh my God. For me, poetry is a form of play. I zoot and mix the words. I sing my lines, finding rhythm. And today, we are going to play with our poems. We are going to make them explosive in our Zoomith.
It's so extra of you. Love it.
Oh, I wrote this yesterday. It's great. So we're not going to get into small groups. We're just going to do this like kind of together. So
Do you want
here's
to just read through the questions?
okay. Well, they said like the DB questions after the
Oh,
activity.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I meant like read through the list of activities.
Oh yeah, totally.
Because these are just delightful on their own to contemplate.
It's true. So I was going to have each of you do 2 of these. Oh, someone left. I'm gonna get them back in. In like small groups, but I think we're all just gonna do like one in a big group. So there's a bunch of different activities that you can do with your pieces, either the one you just wrote or with some of the ones that you brought. Read your piece alternating reading and singing with each line. Replace a word that repeats 3 times in your piece with the word field or window. While reading, raise your hand every time you say I, me, you, we, or us in your piece. Read your piece with your body in an unconventional way, on the floor, upside down, sideways in a chair, etc. Read your piece while breaking to drink water 4 times throughout your piece.
Stay hydrated.
Read your piece while swinging 2 books like you are directing an airplane on a runway. Read your piece while walking in and out of a doorway every other line, or moving in and out of a doorway, or just traveling. Read your piece while doing jumping jacks. Read your piece twice, but the second time, skip every 3rd line.
These are amazing.
These are the little unconventional activities that I had planned for us.
So how do we want to do this?
That's a good question. I guess because we're in one big group, I'll just randomly pick people. No, that doesn't feel right. People can volunteer and pick one to do, because I feel like people should have choice.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna post all of these in the chat. And stop share. I'm really bad at using this mouse. Sorry.
I think I'm getting used to.
I
It's a different feel.
It's a different
Do you want to
feel.
use the trackpad?
No, it's okay. I'm gonna like get the hang of it. I'm gonna copy and paste all of these into the chat, and then we can.
You're just clicking on things.
Oh, I didn't copy the
bullet points.
It's a bummer.
Yeah.
Anyway, how about if people want to sign up / volunteer, and you can pick one of these and do it with your poem.
So this could be a poem that you brought to the
Mhm.
workshop. It could be the piece that you were just working on.
Mhm.
If you want to just try it out.
Mhm. Yeah. Sorry, this is less. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Who would like to go first?
Or do you want to demonstrate?
I can do one. Should I do one?
To break the ice.
I'll break the ice.
You know?
Yeah.
'Cause this is vulnerable.
Yeah, totally.
To do this. We acknowledge that this is vulnerable.
Yeah.
We acknowledge that it's silly.
Totally.
And it's very different.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Where's the poems I sent you yesterday?
I X'd out of that.
No, can you
'Cause I have
reopen
too
it?
many documents
Great.
open.
I'm gonna do jumping jacks.
Which poem do you want?
I want the egg poem.
It's not opening for some reason. Or it's already there. Oh, this new poem. Do you want
Yeah.
to explain what this poem is?
Yeah, Chen and I went to a museum,
We went to was it the MFA?
the MFA.
Yeah, in
and
Boston.
there was this artist,
Kay
Sage, who did this piece where all these eggs were painted in different like traveling settings, like on a ledge or like in a hallway or going upstairs. It was just these eggs who were just moving in their worlds. And we were both very moved.
We were deeply touched.
Deeply touched. So we both wrote poems.
Each wrote an egg poem.
An egg poem.
Thinking about like the perspective of that egg that's
Yeah.
traveling through the realms.
Yeah, the traveling egg. So I'm gonna do jumping jacks and read this. Can we make it a little bigger?
Like the font.
Yeah, or I don't know, like the zoom. You know,
What?
the zoom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Here we go. Factually, I have never been lost. When I can't find where I'm supposed to be, I'm an egg on a journey, surveying the ledge, sunny side up on the ride in the back of a car, going where eggs go, where oval shadows coalesce with hungry, happy hands. I'm hard and boiled and swerving through bodies, trying to arrive at my promptly timed reservation. This is hard. I'm a bad egg. I'm late for dates. I'm known to bring roses though, biting lips like a yolk, chalky with chapstick. On the great runway of life, I sizzle. I crackle and pop. I gush myself open and drip under the stage. I think I'm good.
This is a longer poem than you
This is longer than I
expected.
anticipated. That's all I'm gonna read for now.
Yeah.
Yay! Jumping jack.
So you get the idea.
Yeah, that's the, you know.
Should I do my egg poem?
If you want to do one?
And demonstrate. Which is the activity that I should do? I think I'm gonna raise my hand every time I say a pronoun.
Yeah.
Just not one of these.
Right, yeah.
So this is my egg poem. Oh wait, I do have I in it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to recount for you the journey of those intrepid eggs. Excuse me. That intrepid egg, singular, trailblazer, honeymooner with its own inner yolk and white fused in a union of unprecedented honey, unpredictable splendor. Behold her, how she rolls. No, she glides through realms both known and unknowable to the human experience. Experience the glamour of her gaze, the clarity in her clearly invisible eyes. She is not fearless. She's decided that fear is not reason enough to stop gliding. She, gleamful, proceeds through the velvety viscera of time, into the waterfalls of God's despair, onward beneath the crimson curtains of an operatic rage. Whose windswept betrayal is that? Whose heart beating so hard it is a dagger piercing another's? Whose terrible heart? She doesn't give a fuck. She is an egg. She has worlds left to touch with her shining, gliding shell.
Yeah. Amazing.
On the Great Runway of Life, I sizzle.
I do. On the Great Runway of Life, I sizzle. Thank you for highlighting that. Okay, who wants to go?
I would like to go.
Yeah.
Read the poem I brought to the workshop. I'll do the last one on the list I'll read the poem twice, and the second time I'll skip every third line. So this is called To Fill a Gas Tank. I invited the Colusa County gas station cashier to taste the wind with me as my Brandywine Corolla sat with liquid being forced into it for 2 minutes. Sure, they said. They/them/theirs in purple letters on a blue circle under their name tag that said Z made no apologies for all their boldness. So, middle of nowhere, well, relative to me, is where us two non-binary folks decided to allow the gust of Northern California inside our mouths. Let's drop our jaws at the same time, Z said. I'll count to 3. I agreed to this, since they agreed to step outside with me. So 1 and 2 and 3. Like lions awaking from slumber, our jaws looked like they succumbed to gravity. What is it about that air that had made me savor it? The blue and beige long-sleeve button-up I wore believed these NorCal winds and 75-degree Fahrenheit sunshine was justified. The khaki pants below it billowed. I gotta go back inside, Z said. The air here never gets old. Have a nice afternoon. Then, just like that, they returned to their own world. How far had the air we swallowed traveled? What places did it love before arriving here? Who gets to feel safe in this central valley? It occurred to me that Z didn't ask for my name, and the gas hadn't overflowed the car, and the next destination had more questions to ask me. So,
beautiful.
I'll skip the third line in the second reading. I invited the Colusa County gas station cashier to taste the wind with me as my Brandywine Corolla. Sure, they said. They/them/theirs in purple letters on a blue circle under their name tag that. So, middle of nowhere, well, relative to me, is where us two non-binary folks decided to allow the let's drop our jaws at the same time, Z said. I'll count to 3. I agreed to this since they, like lions awakening from slumber, our jaws looked like they succumbed to gravity. What? The blue and beige long-sleeve button-up I wore believed these NorCal winds and 75-degree Fahrenheit sunshine. I gotta go back inside, Z said. The air here never gets old. Have a nice afternoon. Then, how far had the air we swallowed traveled? What places did it love before arriving here? It occurred to me that Z didn't ask for my name, and the gas hadn't overflowed the car, and the...
Oh my God.
Wow. And
to end on the.
Wow.
I loved hearing both versions of that.
Me too.
And just like the sort of transformation that happened with skipping the third line. But yeah, the images in that. And the
Winston. Oh,
dialogue.
sorry.
Oh, go ahead.
I just wanted to ask Winston, can you read the last line of your original poem and then the last line of that revised one? Because it kind of gives like the same vibe, like the same energy almost.
Yeah, okay. So the last line of the full version is, next destination had more questions to ask me. And then the one for the exercise is, and the gas hadn't overflowed the car, and the...
Yeah, there's something about the rhythm that feels actually kind of similar, even though there's the skipped part. Beautiful.
Amazing.
Thank you, Winston.
Yeah, thank you.
I think I saw, was Eliana? Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't, Shy was afraid to share, but I'll do what I just wrote. And I can sip from my water bottle because I've been doing that this whole time.
Amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. Okay, I have to switch tabs to read from the document, but I'll just do that and not look at the Zoom. Okay, so this is Happy Stars / Big Bang. So I wrote about the Big Bang. Okay. Dear space goddess, my primordial soup princess, in the edge of the universe, there's a message made for you, one of foxtails and fossils and big boiling gases, amongst other things. I heard of a story, one where the sky is 13.8 billion year old black blanket poked through with little holes so the big boiling gaslight could see you, grow up and kiss and dance and stuff, but only when everyone else was sleeping, and with the promise to be oh so very quiet. But one stormy night, the ground was swirling with snow, and it was so delightful the light couldn't help itself. It began to dance across the lake of frost. It lit up the whole world in its reflection. Night was day, up was down. The pinprick stars were spread strawberry jam out across the ground and dancing and bouncing and laughing until the sun shooed them back behind the big black blanket. Good night. Good morning. But to the dear astronaut reading, to you they said, please, please, don't go where I can't follow. Always remember to look back up.
That was great.
Wonderful.
I love those pauses, like where you chose to take that sip. Like in certain places, like good night, good morning, it felt like part of like the greeting. So sipping from the water bottle. In other places it felt like sort of like toast. You know, like you were cheersing something.
You're like,
the
to
line,
the poem.
the line that you just said. Yeah. You know, or preparing for the journey of the next line. That's really beautiful. Like, why don't people do readings like that?
I don't know.
Sometimes you get thirsty in the middle of the poem.
Yeah. It felt like a good choice for me because I get really nervous often when I have to read out loud. So it like helps me not go so fast, actually. That was a good decision, I think.
Yeah, it's like an intentional slowing down. And I've done this activity once before, like before the pandemic in person with people. And the person who's taking the sips of the water bottle, just randomly one of them, they just made it last for like 20 seconds. And we were all just like, you know, like waiting. And I really love that, you know? It's like, yeah, we will wait, actually, because we're here for you.
The pacing is so beautiful. And just sort of what you end up paying attention to, I think changes because of that. It reminds me, I mean, speaking of Mary Ruefle, she has this amazing piece that she like performs basically called Fitted Sheet. And it's like this short, like sort of craft lecture. But at some point during the talk, she brings out a fitted sheet and folds it, which is hard to do.
Yeah, I can't do that.
So yeah, just that kind of the performance too of it, but what that does, yeah, to our attention. Yeah, does anyone else want to try out something?
You can do one that's already been done if you want to.
Yeah, I would love to do the skip every third line one.
Yeah, awesome.
So this is a poem that is about the moon. So it wasn't the one I was originally bringing to the workshop, but it's a poem I had written a while ago about the moon. So I'll read it first, just as is, and then I'm just inspired by the galacticness of the workshop. Okay. The moon appears upon the stage. Act 1, blank stage. The moon appears. It drips blood all over the stage. The gushing moon is the first act. The slippery stage is the second. The bloody audience is the third act, but the audience fails to appear. Act 2, stage set for kitchen sink drama. 3 actors enter stage left. 1 slips. Spotlight. Tonal shift. 1 disappears. Act 3, moon drags itself back on stage, slobbers over the table, sinks into a chair. Applause. Moon absorbs the spotlight, becomes a glowing horizon, dissolves into the empty space. And so now I'll read it with every third line removed. The moon appears upon the stage. Act 1. Blank stage. The moon. Blood all over the stage is the first act. The slippery stage, the bloody audience, is the third act. Fails to appear. Act 2. Stage set. Drama. 3 actors enter stage. Slips. Spotlight. Tonal shift. Act 3. Moon drags itself back. Slobbers over the table. Sinks. Moon absorbs the spotlight. Becomes. Dissolves into the empty space.
Incredible.
Amazing.
Oh my God. I mean, I love the form of the play. This
Mhm.
sort of like surrealist, absurdist play. We was talking about like missing theater and like going to plays, shows, concerts. But yeah, hearing I mean, I loved both versions, but there's something just like stranger about the second version.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh my God, now it's act 2 already.
Yeah, it really like kind of took the complete sentences out of it a little and made it like more jarring and more, it and like kind of, I don't know, more exciting. But there
was an eeriness to the space. Yeah, Aminta, such generative gaps. So that's a great way to put it. Oh, my Shakespeare's birthday is tomorrow. The drama of it all. Oh my God. My partner's father got me Shakespeare socks, and Sam was like, throw those out. It's such a like, oh, you're a writer. Shakespeare, a gift, socks. But I'm kind of tickled by them at the same time.
Thought they should be in the trash.
You were like, burn that. And I'm like, well, this is not a collaboration I'm interested in. No thanks.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, that was beautiful.
Yeah.
The blood.
The blood. I loved the like, was it go to the table? Like, what was that line? It was like,
what was the table line?
Yeah.
Tell us.
Let me see. The table line.
It was like drinks up oh gosh, what was it?
Oh, slobbers over the table.
Slobbers. Oh yeah, I was gonna say that verb is
It's
so
a
good
slobbering.
there. Yeah. Such a active verb. The sound of it.
I hope, if more people want to go, the idea was for everyone to try this out. So
it's great.
Yeah, whoever wants to.
Okay, I'll try it.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is I had a couple interruptions, but I read a poem. The second prompt, this is Happy Earth. How am I going to read it? I'm going to read down.
Which of these do you want to do?
I can do it. Okay, great.
Oh, perfect.
Happy Earth, mother of all known creation, from dust to dust, divine creatrix of the 7 houses, daughter of the universe, holder of the 7 houses, blossomed from a bang, cosmic orgasm, born of matter and spark of existence. Hold us tightly, though we betray you. Hold us still, though we stab you. Hold us yet. We still kill you, us. You are the earth, and I'm your seed. Mother Earth, I love you.
Beautiful. It makes me want to do a reading on my side.
Yeah.
Like, why not?
Why not?
Why do we have to stand at a podium?
Yeah.
You know?
How did it feel to read that on your side?
It was very luscious. I'm very decadent, so it was perfect.
Luscious.
I actually will have
That's the
readings
one I
like that.
feel at a reading.
Those are the perfect words to describe that. Yeah.
That was great. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Yeah. It made it feel like we were like sitting in your living room, like just listening to you read something for fun, you know?
Yeah, just hanging out.
You're
Yeah.
all in my bedroom right now.
Yeah.
Yeah. love seeing the comments in the chat. A wonderful incantation.
Mm.
Yes, it's a great way to put it, Winston.
I think I'll do it in that way as well.
Mm, yeah.
Well, in a different way than just sitting, I guess.
Mhm.
And I will read something that I brought. And I just have to go to it.
Yeah, take your time, you know?
Find that file.
Yeah.
Where's the file? Okay. Oh, I have to kind of scroll though, because it's a bit long, but okay. Maybe I'll like be upside down kind of.
Oh,
God.
yes.
Upside down.
That's like the dream. That's what I wanted people to do. I was like, I want people to be upside down.
This is just your way of
Okay.
It's important to read things upside down. I've done it.
This
with
makes
poems.
it way more fun.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever done that. I should do that.
Yeah.
Upside
Okay.
I've done it.
I think I'm a piece of holiness. I think I was baptized in the Catholic high school parking lot that I almost got arrested in, where I had sex for the third or maybe fourth time, where me and my first love drove away from like we were NASCAR All-Stars, like they were after us, like those cops were gonna follow us home and tell our moms. I like my singing voice, how it rings like bells in the morning. I'm just gonna do this first.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
So good.
I'm trying to listen now to the bells. I'm trying to undo the knots, the ones that came to tangled fruition. All the Sunday mornings I sat hungover, head on my dad's shoulder as he'd try to shake me awake, to listen to the man speaking in front of me aloud about how it really isn't okay to be gay. And I definitely like girls, their mouths and their softness, and also how I should feel very badly for touching my boyfriend like I did. Gently, with love and fingers painted scarlet. I think I'm a piece of holiness, whatever that may be. This is,
You're doing so good.
because I can look out the window as we drive and see trees connecting to rock, connecting to road, connecting to me. I'm trying to now forget you, the you I run from because why would you make me this way if you'd hate me? And I'm trying too to now remember you. You in the trees and whispery wind, you in the rivers and modern art museums, you at the protests, dog parks, safe injection sites, you in the parking lot, laughing with us. Oh God.
Abba.
That was
Yeah, how did that feel?
I got really sweaty.
Yeah. Because all the blood was like going to your head, you know?
Yeah, I'm like kind of sticky right now. Yeah, that was cool. I actually like doing that because like that poem, I like it and I feel like I wrote it in like a playful way, but like maybe it doesn't always come across as playful, but I do think it is playful.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
I mean, NASCAR All-Stars.
Yeah.
Just filled me up.
Absolutely vrooming away.
Vroom.
The vroom of it all.
Yeah. Just the repetition.
Thank you. That was really fun.
Yeah.
Too.
And watching you be upside down and say, I'm a piece of holiness over and over again was really, there was something really inspiring about it.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks. That was nice.
Yeah.
Delightful.
Yeah, true delight.
I know.
Melissa, I see your hand is raised.
So I have a cat on me.
Yeah.
And this poem is called Blow It Up, Beloved, airing about your day. And it's a play on caring about your day and dating.
Mm.
So I'm going to do this and I'm going to replace the last repeating words with field.
Mm.
Blow it up, beloved, airing about your day. Airing about in the city with rogue phones, strewn like a stream, in the hidden Chicago tunnels from the COVID epicenter, death trap. Just underneath your apartment and my own. Contraband phones whispering, lighting off amongst the hissing landlords. Day, murder in broad daylight, happening just outside our windows. I want to shatter the screen, the wall. I want to kiss you, have your hands cup my ass, fingers slipping in, never letting go. As the world falls apart, the heavens saturated with birds, these skies now just too bright, the embers in our eyes, you, shackles breaking, the metal bars melting as we moan. We hear birds passing, train, a wind chime, kissing you hard, the sound deafening, and the final blow, the end of the pigs as we know it, of this plantation, blanketed by rain, falling like puckered prison cards, the bullets sprout, sprouting, sprouting everywhere. Thank you. And then this one, now I'm gonna do it with fields. Blow it up, beloved, airing about your day. Airing about in the city with rogue phones strewn like a stream, in the hidden Chicago tunnels from the COVID epicenter, death trap, just underneath your apartment and my own. Contraband phones whispering, lighting off amongst the hissing landlords. Day, murder in broad daylight happening just outside our windows. I want to shatter the screen, the wall. I want to kiss you, have your hands cup my ass, fingers slipping in, never letting go. As the world falls apart, the heavens saturated with birds, these skies now just too bright, the embers in our eyes, you, shackles breaking, the metal bars melting as we moan. We hear birds, a passing train, a wind chime, kissing you hard, the sound deafening and the final blow, the end of the pigs as we know it, of this plantation, blanketed by rain, falling like puckered prison cards, the bullets fielding everywhere.
Gosh.
Wow.
Fully changes.
I know. That was like spellbinding.
Yeah.
To hear.
Yeah.
Both versions. And field becoming the verb at the end too. In place of sprout. But I can see how they're kind of like cousin words. That was beautiful.
Very beautiful.
Yeah.
I love the presence of the birds. How they come in, the heavens saturated with birds.
Yeah, I think I just like didn't know too which word you were gonna replace. So then when it hit, I was like struck, you know?
Yeah.
That was really wonderful.
Thank you, Melissa.
Thank you.
Yeah, so much goodness.
Who would still like to go? No pressure to anyone. I'll wait like a minute, see if anyone wants to. Yeah. We could also, if we want to transition, there's one more aspect of this activity.
I have a question.
Yeah, the questions. Sort of like to debrief. I thought we would, when I thought we were going to be in small groups, I thought we would like sort of talk through this in the groups.
Yeah, just reflecting. Yeah, how does it feel for your poems to be part of a game? Were there playful elements in your work that were more shiningly bright in the games? Sort of like came out more? Did anything change in the way you thought about your pieces after doing these activities? What do you think playing with poems in this way has to offer? what aspects of play do you already do with your poems? Are there new games you want to try?
Wow.
These are great questions.
I wrote these
You
yesterday.
wrote these. Do we want to put these in the chat too?
Yeah.
Just a little bit of reflection.
Yeah, if anyone wants to like jump in, talk about it, or maybe if you watched people do it, like your
What it
reflections.
felt to witness it, experience it. As a listener.
It was really fun, I thought, to see and hear everyone articulate. Because I feel like poetry is very embodied, or it can be. So I love that we were encouraged to do that. And I think for me, the reason why I chose the exercise I did was because I've been really thinking about revision and what that might look like for me. And so just to kind of hear people respond to like, oh, like when certain lines were left out was an interesting thing. And it's really good to get that perspective.
Yeah, that perspective shift. And the fun of it too. I think that's really important, because sometimes that can get lost as you're working on a poem. If it's, frustrating you, if you feel stuck in some way, you're not sure what else to do with it. But to kind of remember that excitement that maybe you initially had in drafting it, or the idea, and sort of reconnecting with a poem through that fun and the thrill of trying something else, something new in language. Yeah, it makes me think of how often, I do so many like really formal kind of events, and the kind of institutional setting of those, like a university setting. And they're enjoyable, or they can be, but I sort of forget that, oh, you can read a poem in a different way. You can perform it in a different way. It's not always like standing or, seated, in front of the screen for Zoom in the same way every time, right? It can be different. And it makes me want to do that more and kind of like, interrupt the formality of some of those spaces. Because I think that's like what poems should do. Right? They shouldn't be habitual. They shouldn't be the expected form. They shouldn't just, slot into a space neatly. They should do something that sort of transforms that space. And I feel like seeing these experiments, just unfolding right in front of us, right, in real time, where like you weren't sure like what was going to happen exactly, and we were like, waiting to see. There's just a beauty to that. That's very different from, I think, the norms that we've come to expect around like literary, performance.
Yeah, absolutely. I really appreciate just like how joyful this was. And also this is sort of like revelatory to me as you're describing this like playful process of making and revising poems, because I actually became a performance artist several years ago because I was so sick of like boring literary readings. So I just started doing like these wild, weird readings. And then I kind of like left the literary scene for a while because I found like more kinship in like the art scene. And then kind of returned in a way because more people are doing weird things. But I've never thought of doing like embodied processes to actually draft and revise poems, only to present the finished pieces. So I really love that you've introduced that. It's just so fun. And just seeing Taylor and Amanda like physicalize their poems and like the way it radically changed it. Like I definitely chose like probably the least embodied exercise. And it's because I just wasn't like feeling the embodied thing right now. And that was super useful just like syntactically for me. But off camera on my own, I'm definitely going to be doing a lot of these like physical exercises you gave like for my own process. So I'm really grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, of course.
That's such a great reflection on this. Yeah,
Right.
performance art.
Sorry, I especially think I have a hard time editing a lot. I'll get in this editing wormhole where I reread my writing so many times that it no longer even looks like real words, and I just don't know where I am or who I am. And I think it's especially with this poem that I wrote 3 seconds ago and then read in that way, it was very interesting to me to kind of how you said these natural pauses that I kind of just came about, even though it kind of felt like nerves that I was just well, time to take a sip of water. It really did show me something that I maybe wouldn't have realized. And I think, like Katie had just said about Taylor and Amanda and the way they physicalized their poems, it was really interesting. And how Taylor had said, the way that it added playfulness to a poem that maybe on paper wouldn't had. And I think I often lose sight of how poems interact with themselves and with other people, especially in the way they can be presented. And I think this will give me a lot of insight going forward into an editing process and a lot of tips that I can use for myself and for others.
Wow, I'm so glad.
I relate to that so much, Eliana. I feel like I either will edit something to death to the point where I just don't even know what the words are, or I just will not at all. Forget that it's an option to play around with words. And yeah, so I really enjoy that as an exercise. And I also I feel like there's something about getting older that if you're not careful, you can just start taking yourself way too seriously. If you're not actively trying to not do that, it's and I feel like I have been noticing that in myself recently, just in things that I maybe choose to not do or I'm too afraid to do. And I'm not really trying to be that way because I don't feel that serious in my day to day. But then with, stuff that I want to put forth, this is my work, it's sometimes comes across as really serious when I'm not trying to be that way.
Yeah. And I'm kind of a dirty liar. I don't even edit my poems. I just write them. And when I try to return to them, I'm like, who is this? I don't know.
Who is she?
And I think that it's what you just said too. I think it's maybe because I take myself too seriously. And when I go back, it's editing feels like such a serious process. And it's really difficult to cut things out, make it more succinct, make it longer, do those things that are very serious parts of a process to analyze a piece of writing, and maybe adding something that is so not serious and kind of almost stupid or silly. Maybe the word stupid not, but silly really can lighten that kind of element to adding change in a very positive way to work.
Oh my God, I relate to that so much because I only edit poems before I'm getting on the stage. 2 hours before I have to go do a show, let me edit, let me look at it, let me print this out, and then I read it. I'm like, oh, this should be this. But otherwise, I'm sitting there unable to completely paralyzed for fear of changing it. And yeah, academic professionalism, totally. And yeah, but I loved how the embodiment of it allowed me to play with it and to really add that element of play. And in my life, I'm very playful and I live in this very pleasure-centered, bliss-centered life. And I think that I have to add that back into my poetry, even though the words might flow from there. Well, sometimes I'm just so serious, so never mind. But yeah, thank you.
I love this. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I just think we're maybe running out of time here at the end. Do we have to? Yeah, me too. Go ahead. I just coming back, so I don't know if we're.
I wanted to say thank you. I love being ungovernable and experimenting. So thanks.
Ungovernable.
Yes. Yeah, I think I first came up with this activity because I made a bunch of people hold 2 plants each while they were writing, editing a poem. And then we all spilled soil on ourselves. So I was like, how can I do this differently? But I've just been thinking a lot about what kind of headspace you want to be in when you're editing.
Yeah. And I think there's something so powerful about seeing others jump in. And because the vulnerability of it as well,
Mhm.
being willing to maybe look a little silly or sound a little silly,
Mhm.
but still knowing that you're in this supportive and creative space with others
Mhm.
is really powerful. Yeah. Thank you all.
Thank you all for being here with us. Ugh, it was so wonderful.
Join me in thanking Sam and Jen. You guys were wonderful. What an honor to have you here at the New Orleans Poetry Festival. It was a real treat, filled with delights, moon scarcity, moon abundance, kilometer high lava, all the things you guys talked about were just wonderful. And thank you to everyone who joined for being so vulnerable. It's huge. Upside down, sideways, skipping lines. It was just terrific. So thanks to everyone. And we got another session coming up at 6 o'clock. It's called Primary Sources, Finding Contemporary Direction from Voices of New Orleans Past. Lots of different folk here in New Orleans. A lot of them are going to porch together, and we're going to be zooming in at Lisa Passold's house just down the street from where I am, closer to the river. So at 7 o'clock, Zoom, free. It's going to be awesome. Then we'll keep going through the weekend. I think there's something every day, at least one thing. So I hope you join us for more. And again, thank you so much, Sam and Chen. This was so fun. And thanks for being flexible. You did a great job with the first virtual version. So it was just fantastic.
Yay!
Ugh, so glad to hear that.
It was great. Y'all have a good night and hope you enjoy the rest of the trip in Boston. And
Thank you. Thanks, everybody. You're all
Bye.
Superstars.
Treasures. Oh my gosh. Do we leave too? Yeah.